it's Grim IGO with Luxury Gaming, and we are here with Ben. He got first place playing Dragon Link with the new ban list implemented in the Luxury LCS 11 event. There's 223 players in the event. There's 8 rounds of Swiss, and then top 16 playoff for some awesome prizing and cash money. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yep, I'm Ben Kreutzkamp, and I know some people might know me from the online community. I haven't really been too active IRL, so no interesting IRL tops or whatever. But yeah, I managed to get quite far with Dragon Link this LCS. Indeed, win it, I guess.
Yeah, you won the whole thing, which is awesome. Do you have any shoutouts before we start up?
Yep. First and foremost, I want to shout out 100%, which is my testing circle, my friend group. We've been testing a lot for this event. We're basically testing every format. There are a lot of insane players. Also, I want to shout out my locals in Aachen, and I want to shout out Syndicate.
Awesome. Yeah, let's jump right into it then.
Yeah. So first I played Dragon Link, so I guess standard ratio, or more or less standard ratio of rocket cards. I played one Absol router to search the tracer if you need it from Ravine. Then I played 3 tracer, 3 quick launch. Obviously you want to see it. And then 1 recharger as the level 4 non-tuner you want from tracer to make savage, and 2 rocket synchrons. Rocket synchron is an interesting card because if you summon it off tracer, you don't have the immediate savage synergy. And in my list, I don't run hot red, so it's not not as good as in other lists. But I still figured it would be good to run 2, just because it's a needle fiber target. And you sometimes just turn 3 want the dark extender from tracer, the dragon extender for guard ranks or whatever. Then the Dragon Maid package. Lately, Dragon Link lists have been playing this. I play 2 Chamber because it's an okay normal summon. Because it searches you the trap, but you need an extender to play from there. And 3 traps. 3 traps in my list is something that other lists don't run. They run 1 or 2. But I decided to run 3 because it's basically infinite grind. Because the trap can also on your turn reborn the Chamber Dragon Maid, which then searches another trap, so you have infinite trap fodder. So you're basically putting up the same interruption every turn in case you do not want to or cannot kill. Then I have the 1 Lamioneer in my list. Obviously, every Dragon Link list runs this. It's really good to pressure, and it's your main removal. Then 3 Phantasme, 3 Nibiru. I decided to main deck 3 Phantasme and 3 Nibiru, and then the 3 triple tactical talents, because I mainly wanted to tech for the mirror match, because I thought it was important to win the mirror match, since combo matchups are the ones that tend to blow you out the most, since often you cannot win them just with your engine. So Phantasme was a really good call in my opinion, because it's never really dead, unless you're playing against Guru or Eldlik. Then Nibiru is obviously the strongest hand trap in the mirror match, and I think it's the only one that really trades favorably for you in most spots, because things like Ash Blossom or Gamma probably don't prevent that they end on a seal and sometimes even a savage, and the trap is kind of a thing that you can never really prevent, so they're often ending on a similar board even if you Ash, Gamma, Ogre, or whatever them, and you're just trading cards in hand for them then gaining advantage again with trap and seal on your turn. Then a bunch of one-offs, the Chaos Dragons, the baby dragons for Chaos Space, obviously really good extenders. Black is sometimes a little hard to set up right now because you don't really have the lights in your main combo. Then the 1 Darkness Metal. Darkness Metal is interesting because people decided to cut it a lot since most people don't run the Black Metal Dragon anymore, since it dies to LCS, and it's kind of a weird starter when you want to have the Chamber Dragon mate. But I think it's really good to access it from Heretic Seal and just have it as a resource, the big one. Because if you go for the recharger play and reborn a Dark Monster from your grave, like turn 3 or when you're in a grind game when you're trying to kill or whatever, it's always better to get the Darkness Metal first, so you get an extra body, and then Darkness Metal can reborn your LP or whatever, to then get you more advantage than one Nocta Vision. This is just a generic extender that draws you one card. Second effect never came up for me, but it can theoretically protect the set, which is okay now that we play Tiding as a back row. This is not a bad card. It's actually quite interesting because you can chain block your Levianeer if you need to, and indeed it helps you to extend if you open stuff like Seyfert and Phantasme or Seyfert and Avsrouter, so you can search a level 7 extender. That should be it for the, well, Brotor is there of course as a kind of Garnet, but like it lets you access your whole deck, it lets you access Levianeer via LP. Yeah, I don't think there's much to say about it anymore after like nearly two years of this deck being played.
Yeah, understandable.
So that should be it for the monsters. Yeah, I think spells are mostly self-explanatory. One of each field spell to search with Striker Dragon Romulus. 3 Chaos Space, it's an insane card. Draws you 1, lets you play without normal summoning. Quick Launch is a really good extender. It's most often a tuning extender too, and it's not once per turn. Whoever thought that would be a good idea. Word of Legacy Guard Dragon, another insane extender. This actually in this deck values 2 extenders most of the time, since you can move your Guard Dragons and need to commit less resources to the board. And it stays on field, so you can sometimes bounce it with Seal and get more advantage. Triple Tactics Talent, as said before, I think this was a good call because the format slowed down really like a lot, and Tactics is a good card into multiple matchups, especially stuff like Dino or whatever, or Zodiac. You can really like pick apart their board a lot, since this deck can also extend past the normal summon really well. And Tactics is a card that, other than other board breaker cards, isn't dead going first. So going first, it's actually also a really good card, because if your opponent hand trips you, you just talents them, look at their hand, and even if you can only put up as much as Seal and Trap, with nearly full knowledge of their hand, that's most often going to be enough to maybe not stop their turn, but survive a turn, gain more resources from your Heretic Seal, and then start taking over the game turn 3. That's for my main deck. Do you want me to go over side or talk about the main deck first? Like, do you have questions?
We can go through side and extra, and then go through questions. You can pick which one you want to do first.
Sure. I'll just go with side first. So, I think the easiest one is back row removals. I decided to run Feather Duster, Pancratops, and Reboot as one-offs. Reboot and Feather Duster are just the best cards against back row. And then Cosmic Cyclone is there because actually going first I need to slide out some cards against back row too. Like cards like Phantasme, Nibiru, or sometimes even Talents that I especially attack for the Mirror aren't really good against heavy back row decks. So you need stuff that you can take out as well going first as going second. So it was basically the choice between Cosmic Cyclone and Twin Twister. And I think Cosmic Cyclone has the slight edge because it helps you grind against Zulich better. If they only have like very few traps, you only need to Cyclone like 1 Conquistador, while Twin Twister would be better against heavy Floodgate decks, so you can hit multiple back row. Also, Cosmic Cyclone hits the Shuttle Schism way harder, since they cannot retrieve it with Wind or Construct or whatever. So it makes that grind game easier. Then Dark Rule and Super Poly were my blowout cards for the Mirror. So I would take out the Talents going second, since they're decent, but they most often don't really win you the game if you didn't hand trap them. And my list runs very few hand traps. I only have Nibiru against the mirror. I'm not even citing Ashe, since I think Ashe against Dragon Link is most often a neg one, since they in almost every hand can extend past it and end on a similar end board.
Yeah.
Super Poly is an interesting thing that I want to talk about when it comes to the extra deck too. So first off, there's like 3 Ashe as the remaining spots. I was considering Lancia here, since Lancia is a little better against Dino. But then again, I need to side up 9 cards against back row Eldritch decks, so Ashe was just the card that covers both Dino and Eldritch. It's pretty generic, so it's weird to see it in the side deck, but I think my main deck was supposed to be the most impactful for the mirror. So yeah, Super Poly. Super Poly is here for 2 reasons. Super Poly is for the mirror with Borderline Furious Dragon. I think I summoned it on stream once, and then summoned it in top 16 again. It takes 2 Dark Drag monsters. I think this card's never really seen any competitive play so far. It came in the Rocket Structure deck. It's really good in the mirror, because going second, all you need to do is have 1 Phantasme on board, or normal summon 1 Dark Drag monster. And let's say they end on, like the typical Dragon Link decks, they end on either 1 negate Seal Trap, so like, let's say, Hot Red Seal Trap. Then you normal summon a Dark Drag monster, you fuse away the Hot Red and the normal summon. For the Borderline Furious, in the battle phase, you force the Heretic Seal, they activate Seal, and you chain the Furious Dragon, targeting itself and the back row, the Tidying. So that way you outed the whole board with just normal summoning and then Super Poly. If they end on 2 negates, even better. Just, you don't need to normal summon, fuse away both negates, do the same thing. They almost always lose them. And going first, Super Poly is a really good backup. If they hand trap you, if you can only end on like a Heretic Seal or whatever, if they this card still wins you the mirror. They can summon a lot of bodies or whatever. But Dragon Link is very weak in playing around back row cards, since you have no Nightmare Phoenix in the deck or similar stuff. So it's very hard to force the back row, except from Levianir, I guess. Yeah, for the extra deck, I guess everything is mostly standard. 2 seals are run to like provide some kind of grind game, especially together with tidying, looping Dragon Maid. That's really nice, so you don't need to immediately kill. You have some kind of interruption you can put up, even if your Savage gets outed. Then, yeah, Guard Dragons, Boral Sword, Romulus is standard, I think. I ran 3 Striker Dragon, again, because it's really good at the grind game. Recharge effect is just insane. Reboarding any dark monster in your grave, yeah, can really help to put up insane boards just from the grave, if you have stuff like Red MD and Brotor in there. Then Hulk Fibrax is a card that is very weird in your opening combo, since most Dragon decks can't really get rid of it, unless they run something like Appaloosa and go for very specific lines of play. But I decided to run Saryuja partly because of that, since Saryuja doesn't specify what kind of monsters it needs, and game 1 when you're not expecting Nibiru, and against specific matchups like Dino, even games 2 or 3, you can go for Saryuja, draw into more resources, draw into cards that are very good turn 3. Also, if you got like a soft hand trap, someone ashy or whatever, you draw into talents, you look at their hand, and you're basically never losing that game. 1 Savage is the only synchro. I had to cut Chaos Ruler and Hot Red because I want space for fusions, basically. I don't think they're necessary too. So you can commit those resources to the board, but even if you put up just Seal Savage Tidying and keep the other resources in hand, you're mostly winning those matches if you play your resources correctly, especially if you Saryuja before. So they're very good cards, don't get me wrong, but I valued getting my resources and keeping my resources in hand over them, and having a strong board breaker card like Super Poly really helped me out a lot in the mirror.
Got you. Yeah. So a few things. I guess what you're talking about with the Chaos Ruler and stuff. I did see some cool interactions where Chaos Ruler to get Lancier and Nibiru, things like that. But other than that, you'll basically get to the answer to this though. But your deck's built a little different playstyle wise. If you'd like to get a little more in depth on that and reasoning for Super Poly afterwards.
Yep. So basically, it's kind of goes in hand what I just said. My deck doesn't put up a lot. Like I'm always just putting up Seal Savage and then a trap if I have it, not more. I can keep the other resources in my hand because Dragonlink. Yes, it can put up some insane boards, but we're right now at a point where you don't have enough extenders, you don't have the right extra deck monsters with Link Cross and whatever, to really build a board without playing into hand traps, etc. So you're always in the risk of losing your on-field resources, and the deck is actually much better with building Boros Sword and killing your opponent than it is with setting up negates. Chaos Ruler is a good card. It gives you a resource. It can mill you Lancia or Nibiru or whatever. But I think Savage is like for Chaos Ruler, you would have to go into Hot Red right after to make it like a negate for your opponent. Because if you're just relying on the mill, then it's random. Like you have 20% to mill like a Levianeer. You have I think higher percentages to mill the hand traps if you run 3 of them. But basically what I'm trying to say is that you can never rely on the Chaos Ruler mill itself, and you have to put extra resources into it to make a hot red from the Chaos Ruler then. So I don't know, I think if the goal is just to survive turn 1, this is perfectly fine. Since I care more about killing them and breaking their board they're putting up through my board than blowing them out turn 1, because decks like Dino are very popular. I played 6 Dinos this tournament in 12 rounds.
It's crazy.
And I won against every single one of them, not because my board was so insane that they couldn't play at all, but because I drew into stuff like Talons, I added back my Levianeer, I had 4 to 5 resources to play my turn 3 after they had to use all their resources to break my board. So yeah, that's basically the playstyle. Like you're aiming to kill turn 3, not to win turn 1.
Yeah. You were saying basically about playing 3 tiding that you basically keep utilizing the chamber every turn, and also another thing about the playing the darkness metal. Basically, if you're able to like tiding and then chamber on your turn, search tiding, and then striker on recharger, get red eyes and stuff. There's a lot of aggressive approaches you can do on turn 3 without actually utilizing many cards in your hand.
Yep, exactly.
Which I thought that was very nice. And I did see your one of your feature matches against Raphael, and the Super Poly was pretty unexpected. And Dragon Link, basically what you stated is that they're not going to side back row against you, so they have to force themselves to play through your back row, so you're able just to Super Poly at the right moment, which is nice.
Yep, exactly. Super Poly has been really strong. Also against invoked and Shadol decks. That's why I played the Dragostapelia. You can take away their Winda and their Mechaba, and since Winda is a really big problem for this deck, you basically can't play through it. So Super Polying away Winda is really cool. Even if they don't have a Mechaba, you could just use one of your own dark monsters to fuse it away. Super Poly is also applicable against Prankets, since you can just Super Poly away their Butler, since if they build it on your turn, you're going to have turn play priority after they announce their Prankets effects to special from deck, burn, and whatever. Mm-hmm. You can use a dark monster in your field and the Battle Butler to make Dragostapelia, and you don't have to worry about the double Regek anymore. Didn't come up for me. I played 1 Pranket and couldn't make it there because I was forced to go into LP at some point to even force the double Regeki. and LP locks you into drags, so yep, that's super poly. But I did resolve it against Pack. He was playing Invoke shoutouts. Yeah, that definitely won me that game.
That's a very good card.
Yep.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about the tournament or the deck itself before we wrap it up?
No, GG's to Ryan for the finals. He's a friend of mine, and it was really cool to play a friend in the finals.
Definitely.
So, yep.
Yeah, you both played very well, and yeah, but
I mean, he did open kind of unlucky, game 1 especially, but yeah, no bad blood there.
Yeah, understandable. Well, yeah, thank you so much, man, and congrats on the first place title.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. And guys, don't forget to check out Luxury Gaming on all social media platforms. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and have a great day. And congrats to Ben again for first place. And bye-bye.